people.
Right. Again, thank you so much to Mayor Blangiardi for sending in his message to about Aloha Stadium. We appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
But yeah, it just means so much, right? It just means so much to so many people.
Now, we've been talking a lot about the past of Aloha Stadium, but it's kind of important to talk about the future of the new stadium. Now, we have Daryl Huff here. You've done several reports of this topic. Daryl, is there a timeline for this? What have been the issues with this project?
Okay, well, the issue is they wanted to turn what was a simple idea of we need to replace the stadium into a huge land redevelopment deal for the stadium property, which is all the way out to the highway, all the way down to Salt Lake Boulevard, all the way down to the Ice Palace, and so on. And it's a tremendous economic activity, opportunity. So the prior stadium administration went through the process of actually qualifying and researching and going out to the community and talking about all the things that they vision for that part of their community. These people live right next to it, and they have a right to kind of have some say.
Yeah, right.
So they went through that process, and they came up with essentially a double bid process. First is we want someone who's going to build a new stadium and maintain it for 30 years. That in and of itself is called a public-private partnership, and it would put that stadium builder on the hook for if they messed up or they put cheap material in there, they're the ones who'd have to be responsible for that. So that was the reason for doing it in that way. They went out and they sought qualifications for bidders on that. The second piece is what they call the real estate piece, and that's everything around it, which would be a mixed-use, industrial, retail, residential, open play space, play work space, and in the transit corridor. That is a multi-billion-dollar, also 20, 30 years out development timeline, and a separate bid was being designed for that. Now, as we all followed during the last few weeks of the Ige administration, all of a sudden the governor said, I don't know. This seems kind of ambitious. I think that we should just simplify this back to an old-fashioned government project. Let's get a low bidder to build us a stadium. It's quicker, it's simpler, and it doesn't involve the risk of involving developers and financing and what's the residential market going to be like, what's the retail market going to be like, all of these really big economic questions that kind of reflect on what you get when you redevelop that area. So that's still where we stand at this moment. The Ige administration backed off. There's division between the Senate and the House over how this should go. The House is much more in line with just build a stadium already. The Senate is much more involved in this. This is a great opportunity. It'll create jobs and so on. Governor Green came out of the box, and it was one of the first things he did. Says, we're going with a public-private partnership. Let's go.
Right.
And within a couple of weeks, he went, well, we got to take a better look at this. And so just today, which is Thursday, I spoke with the person who is in charge of redeveloping the stadium, and she told me that the comptroller has come in and said, well, we've received a third-party review of the future of the stadium. What does these bid processes that you've been going through, do they make sense? Does it pencil out? Is there any risk to taxpayers down the line? A third party, like accounting firm, economics firm, was asked to basically review it. That report is now in. No one is saying what's in it, but it's in. And it was going to be presented. What the comptroller told the Stadium Authority was that we're going to take this back, and the Green administration is going to look at it. So basically what you've got is the new governor coming in and doing his own due diligence on the road ahead. That could lead to, in the next month, we think you guys have done a great job, go for it. Or it could be, we need to rewrite this thing.
Right.
Which could lead to them saying, okay, let's just build a stadium. So I hate to give you an answer like that, but that seems to be the answer.
With this official kind of goodbye, it almost seems like maybe the community is going to try and put more pressure on this too. It seems like, hey, we're saying goodbye to this stadium. Where's the new one? Right.
Right. So the Rust Palace is not going to be knocked down until they get a construction bid for the new one. That's going to be part of the new bid. So it's going to be sitting there for a while.
Right.
So you don't really have to say goodbye if what you're doing is driving by every day. It will still be there. It will be looming over the H1 freeway for at least a couple more years, probably. And so, you know, I would not get my hopes up for a new stadium.
And, you know, they've been,
Not soon, anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
And there have been a bunch of concept art kind of being released as far as what those plans are. And like you said, there's no real
It's all
bid yet.
complete
So,
fantasies. It's
so,
all complete
so I know
fantasies.
people.
I mean, it's
They're
like,
cool
yeah,
renderings.
It's like,
They're cool renderings. So just to give, you know, let the people know, like, those aren't exactly what the stadium will even look like. Those are just concepts and things like that. And like you said, right, if once they do get a bid and things like that, that's when you can start looking at those concepts or those blue sky
They
images.
don't even know
as
how big it's going to be.
That's true.
Right? If you don't know how big it's going to be, you don't know how big the footprint is. If you don't know how big the footprint is, you don't know where you can put other stuff. The one thing that I found very compelling in this discussion was that if you go to the new rail terminal, which is right there on Salt Lake Boulevard, or it might be Cam Highway over there. No, it's Cam Highway over there. To get from that rail terminal to the stadium entrance, it's a real obstacle course.
Right.
Of
Yeah.
Parking lots and Salt Lake Boulevard and
Yeah.
so on. So the rail is going to be going to the stadium by the end of this year. Right? But no one's going to go into the stadium, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Right.
the timeline on the rail is actually beating the stadium timeline.
Which is really surprising.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And so, but what was appealing to me was the idea of one of the first projects that they want to bid is this corridor that goes above Salt Lake Boulevard, goes from the rail terminal. On either side, you've got retail, you've got high-rise housing, you've got all of these services to create this promenade. And then, you know, I thought, wow, okay, that makes sense, you know, and that's
Right.
one of the first things. So they could phase it. They could say, these are the three components we want by 2030. And then we're going to open it up. So, and also you've got the pressure to build more affordable housing.
Right.
Where people were saying, let's put 25,000 housing units there. Right now, the plan is only for 4,000. So, you know, it's all entangled in the political world now, and sorry about that. I have to tell you a quick story, though.
Okay,
Sure.
all
If
right.
you guys are interested. You can cut this out if
No,
you
no,
want.
no,
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 absolutely.
Go
I would
for
cut
it.
at this point, say, been nice talking to you. Click. So you don't have to hear a Daryl story.
No, I'm
But
very
when I was
interested.
in high school, I worked in the Termite Palace.
Really?
On King Street. I was one of the people that ran around from concession to concession underneath with a
Wow.
cart delivering frosty malts, boiled peanuts between all the little places, and it was disgusting. There's peanuts and beer falling on you constantly.
Oh, my
constantly.
goodness.
And so when I went
Jeez.
to college and they actually opened the stadium, I don't think I was at the first game, but I was early at UH, and we would go, and the students had the entire Mauka side.
Wow.
We all got
Wow.
there early. We made a big U shape of seating on that place, and we
Wow.
sat there and we watched football games with Wagner and Tommy, and anyway, that was
Wow.
fun. I got
Wow.
like to wax on.
See,
about
the
that.
story is a nice little
It is-
gem.
it is a
from-
little gem,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
saw O.J. Simpson play in Aloha Stadium.
Is that a Pro
Wow.
Bowl or?
It was a Pro Bowl. Yeah.
Wow. See,
That's pretty cool.
isn't that?
Yeah,
You just
the
never
World
know.
Football
Never know.
League with a long, skinny football. My band played at a World Football
Wait,
League
whoa,
stadium
whoa.
game.
I'm learning so much about this.
You were in a
I'm just
band?
boring you to hell. Oh, the Kalani High School band.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Okay.
Well, I was
We'll
also
go-
in a band, but that's a whole nother story.
see, see.
This is too much about me.
This is so great. No, well, we'll cut it there. Thank you so much, Daryl, for joining us, giving your insight on the
Thank you.
stadium.
Applause. Thank you.
Now I feel like we have to have you more often. I feel like we
know.
need to learn more stories
We're
about
learning a
Daryl.
lot,
You know,
yeah.
Well,
I take back what I said before. You know, you're
Exactly.
welcome anytime.
Exactly.